Hey friend, it's Amber from youneedanamber.com, and I am so happy you are here today. As you know, one of the things that I'm super passionate is helping other entrepreneurs live the anti-hustle lifestyle while still achieving their dreams. Today I'm doing something a little bit different because I am bringing on my business coach, Megan Hale, for an interview today. I met Megan in the spring of 2023. We've been working together all year. It's still 2023 right now. And she has drastically changed the way that I look at my business, the way that I approach my business, the offers that I'm creating. She's just magical. I cannot say enough things about her. One of the bonuses that I got whenever I joined her group coaching platform was a methodology about tracking your money. Megan is currently blowing up with this methodology and how it is transforming the lives of everyone who gets their hands on it. And she is coming out with an amazing blueprint for her money methodology called Dream Money. And this is something that I use in my business. I cannot say enough good things about it. And so we are going to get into an interview with Megan where we're going to talk about all things money. Money can be a really hard conversation. It can be vulnerable and bring up really big feelings like shame and guilt. And I want you to know that you are not alone if you have felt those feelings, just like I have and just like Megan has. So this is a really special interview. It's a bit deep and it's super, super important. So just to give you a bit of background on Megan, like I said, she is my business coach. Her business is called meganhale.co, and she is currently building a money platform called Dream Money. And it is a complete financial system that will help you fund your dreams and your business. And there's a lot of like systems and processes around her platform, which you know that I love, but her background as a former psychotherapist really comes in to play with this platform because it really, it's just so thoughtful and meaningful and impactful. And I want you to be a part of it. On her website, Megan identifies as a healer and a strategist and someone who's just going to help you make money and your dreams a reality and a part of your like real life achievement list. She's Profit First certified. She's a former psychotherapist. I mean, this girl just, I cannot say enough things about her. So let's get into the interview. You're going to love it. Megan, thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I am so thrilled that you're here.
I am so excited to see you and be here too.
I love that we're getting to have a conversation like this because normally we just talk in like a business coach-y relationship and you just tell me what to do all the time, which I really love and appreciate that about you. But I'm so excited to hear about how our worlds are colliding a little bit and a little bit how, I talk a lot about not hustling and having a business that feels really good and feels right and really aligned with your personal values. And I think that's what you're really trying to do here with Dream Money. So can you talk to me a little bit about how you feel like you can really achieve your financial goals and still live a life first and kind of have your business second, but also achieve the financial goals that you want, but also that you like need to survive as a human?
Totally. And I think like one of the things that we so align on is this concept of enough. And I think
Mm,
it's so important that like we understand what enough really means to us, because without that, it is so easy for us to get sucked into the more, more, more. And as you know, like in our society, more is really praised. It's something that is really looked upon as a beautiful thing, but it's also something that doesn't really have an end. And more has no destination. Like we need specificity, right? And we also need to be grounded in our own sense of what enough really looks like for us. And so I think one of the things that really aligns for us is that although I'm taking that approach from the money lens of like helping people really understand, like, what are your enough numbers, right? Having this clarity is the thing that allows us to be grounded in our own definition, especially when it comes to financial success. And if we don't have those anchor points, it's really easy for us to go, go, go and pursue more and more and more for the sake of more, thinking that it's going to add more joy or more fulfillment or more safety or security or whatever that is that it's after, when those things don't really exist in the more and more and more. And in fact, a lot of us get really stressed out when we're on that train.
Me. Hi, it's me. Right?
I'm the problem, it's me.
Exactly.
Well,
Yes.
look, I know that though, because it's been my journey too, right? Like
Yeah.
my whole journey from being a psychotherapist into the work that I do now all started with like really uncovering our stories around not enough and how are we trying to fill those voids by all of these other things that we do, you know?
Where did where did it come from for you that you needed to step in enoughness rather than more? How did that origin start?
Yeah. So when I first made the leap from therapy to coaching, I had pretty like immediate success right away. So I went straight into
Of
offering
course
group
you did.
programs. I went straight into offering group programs, mostly because I had a lot of experience holding space in the therapeutic model for groups. And so that felt really comfortable for me. And I was really looking for a more leveraged model than the one on one model, because that's what I was used to as a therapist. And so I took a program that really, really helped me get clear on stepping into my first 5-figure launch, like my first program out the gate, right? And up until that point, I also had a whole year of audience building. Okay. So I didn't just like turn on a light, like, I'm here, y'all come work with me. Like, there was a lot of nurturing that I was doing in the background to prepare for that to be a reality. So I ended up having a 10K launch my first month of this
Mhm.
business, which was
Amazing.
amazing. Amazing.
Yes.
But the thing is that I very quickly found myself onto, okay, what's the next thing? I need to do this next month. And then the
Mm.
next thing, it needs to be more, it needs to be better. And for some reason, there was this big light bulb moment of like, if I don't get a grip on what my own definition of success is, I'm never going to reach it. So I actually took a huge step back from my business like 3 months in. I was like, I got to sort this stuff out. And so that's when I did a lot of my enoughness work and really looked at my inner child stories of like, what do I think it means to have enough, to be enough, to, all do enough? Oh my gosh, because productivity is like the thing that drives me to no end, right? And so that was a 4-month inner healing journey that radically shifted my life and helped me really understand what my personal definition of enoughness was. And I think that it was really foundational, um, where it started to weave into all the money stuff, but that wouldn't come for years later.
Right. Yeah, it's funny how it's like all of that personal development work that, that I've done for years and years and years, and you've done for years and years, it all leads to where we are now. But back then, you didn't know that. You didn't
No.
know that that's where it was going to lead you. All you knew
Yeah.
is that in the moment, something doesn't feel right. Something's
Yes.
off, and I need to fix it, but I don't know where that's going to lead. And I love hearing that story. Um, when I talk to my clients, that's always something that I want them to do first is establish their foundational pieces of their business. I start with mission, vision, values, and boundaries. But it sounds like, you've started with some other inner work that really led to where we are now with your dream money. Um, and what I want to know is like, what is dream money mean? And how is that different than like regular money?
Yes. Well, I'm so glad you asked because I think a lot of times when we think about money, there's all different types, right? There's not enough money. There's I'm working myself to the bone money. There's I have no idea where my money went money. Like there's all kinds of money.
Mhm.
And what I really want to invite people into is a very specific type of money. And so Dream Money actually is an acronym that stands for 5 key pillars, right? And so Dream Money, the D means that it's deliberate, that we are very intentional with how we're designing our lives and our businesses. So our money feels like it's truly supportive for the life that we want to live. It's honoring of our time and energy. It's very sustainable for us. The R is all around reliable money. So we're structuring money to always be on its way, which really comes from our business model and stepping into recurring revenue. We also have easeful money. That's the E, which is all around money systems, which I know that you will love, because it's really key. Like if we want to have more simplicity and clarity with our money, like systems are going to be a big part of that. So we don't have to know where our money is going or what we need to be doing with it. There's a system that supports us. And then the A is abundant money, meaning that there's more than enough money. And what does that mean? Because I think a lot of us think abundant money is having millions and millions and millions of extra dollars. But this is where it's really important. Like, what does abundance really mean for you? And that's going to depend on our attachment style to money, how much extra we need to feel safe. Like, so many things start to open up just from
Like, what are our
looking.
bills? Like, what do I need?
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
how
We
much
have
are
to
my
know like
bills
what our
every month?
needs are first,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and then what's extra on top of that.
Yeah.
And then the last is meaningful money. And this is probably the one that's most important to me, because I think it's really important that we have a deep connection with the numbers that we're pursuing, that they're personally meaningful for us, which means that the numbers have to be based on our financial needs and our dreams, as well as making a give back into your business. Because when you see the larger ripple effect that your money can have in the world, even just by contributing a small percent of your total revenue, that allows there to be so much more meaning between you and every single dollar that walks through your door. And so what I'm inviting people into are all of those 5 key pillars that really are the foundation for dream money.
Mm. I just I just love that so much because it taps into so many different areas of your life. Like, yes, we need money to pay our bills and like buy food and right, put gas in our car and things like that. But it goes into more than that. And that's something that you've really pushed me to think about is like, what am I dreaming for? What am I saving for? What do I really, really want? And, to be honest, like it felt a little bit uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
when we first started our relationship because I'm just such a person that's like I live right here. Like I'm doing the work. This is what I'm focused on. Like I'm heads down doing the work. And it's hard for me to like see outside of that.
Yeah.
And and that reflects in lots of areas of my business and my life because I just so want to be heads down all the time. But I love that you hold the space to like allow you to be heads down and like pay the bills, but also like let's pop in some other things
Yeah.
around it so that as you're doing the work or living your life or living in the season that you're in, other things are still happening all around you and it's not so
Totally.
siloed, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be a challenge too. Like if we start to zoom too far out, it's like, well, what do you want? It's like it's hard for sometimes us to dream that far or to have that level of clarity. So it's kind of like, what do you want to step into this next year? What do you want to step into these next 3 years, right? And I think that's really important to know where you ultimately want to go, especially financially, because that's going to impact the decisions we're making in your business today that allow those things to be real with a really spacious timeline of them being realized too. And I think when we talk about anti-hustle, the speed in which we're doing things is a huge piece of that, because especially like if we have a scarcity relationship with time, just like we have a scarcity relationship with money, right? Well, that's the thing that can drive a lot of hustle. So I think having spacious timelines, but also having that longer term view of like, where ultimately are we wanting to go with all this? And how can we start building towards that right now?
I really think that you're the first person I've ever heard talk about it in that way because I think everyone immediately goes to like the fun question of like, what would you do if you won the lottery? Like
Yeah.
that's how big it is. And you're, you're not going that big. It's
Yeah.
like, what,
I'm very
what are you doing
practical,
next
but
year?
I'm also dreamy, right? Like I'm
Right.
both of those things.
Yeah. But it's like, dreamy in that like, what do I want my life to look like in 3 years? What do I want, my debt to look like or my bills to look like or
Yes.
whatever? Not like, what would I do if I won the lottery and I had a villa in the south of France? Like, that's not what we're talking about. I mean, maybe if
I
that's
mean, it could
like
totally happen.
really your
Totally.
dream, but not like, and now you've come into $100 million. Like we're a little
Yes.
more realistic, which I
Yeah.
love
Yeah, it's
because
very grounded.
it's very grounded. And I think that um sometimes you can get caught up in all of the like online gurus and the people who do the income reports and like, well, they're making, $10,000 a day with their thing. And of course they're living in Puerto Rico with the taxes. And, it's like, no, we're really talking about like your real life. To me, it feels very, um, yeah, like real and true and
Yeah.
not in a fantasy world. I mean, dreams are one thing, but it's not a fantasy. It's like
Yeah.
it's a legitimate dream that like means something to you,
Yes.
not just
Yes.
like what would I do if things exploded and I could.
I think that's like the
Yeah.
other big thing too, is like when we are getting into numbers and revenue goals and all those things, and we're talking about dreams, especially, like I want these things to feel doable and manageable and reachable. And I think sometimes we can be so influenced with what other people are doing or what other people's dreams are that it can really cloud the things that are most important to us. And the online space is such a noisy place for that, right? And I think a lot of these entrepreneurs who are sharing a lot of big revenue numbers, it's also easy for us to assume that that's the norm. And that's a very, very small percentage of people. And so I really want to speak to people who have, real businesses, real dreams, like real lives, all of those things. Not to say those other people don't, but it's like there's so many more of us who are really focusing on just this lifestyle that feels good for our family and our values. And it's not for anybody else. It's for us, right? And the legacy that we want to leave.
Has money always felt dreamy for you?
God, no. No, no, no. I mean, like, if you would have told me like several years ago that I would be teaching about money, I'd be like, who? This girl? Like, I don't think so. Money
This girl
has,
who's trained as a therapist?
yes, I mean, money has felt so hard, so overwhelming, so complicated, so much guilt, so much shame associated with like so much conditioning that I was carrying. And I think if I had never become an entrepreneur, I don't know if I ever would have been forced to actually really look at my money stuff. And it wasn't until I opened my private practice and I found the online space that I'd even heard of the term money mindset. So it was a very foreign concept to me. And then the more I learned about it, I'm like, oh shit, I have money stuff, like lots of money stuff apparently. And so it was really only by doing my own work and finding so much healing and building all these beautiful tools that have like just helped so many people. They're like, this needs to be shared in the world. And there was a huge imposter syndrome when I first started stepping into this arena of like, who am I to teach this? But the thing that really supported me is like, why not you to teach it? Because you have such a unique background, you have such a unique lens, like you can approach it from this deeply personal, spiritual, psychological place, like all of these beautiful layers that show up with our money. And so I'm thrilled that this is what I get to do nowadays, but I never would have seen this come in a million years.
Can you go into the path a little bit more for me? So if in your previous world money felt shameful and you felt guilty around it, how did you find your way to where we are now with Dream Money?
Yeah. So I was probably about 2 years into this business. I'd already moved away from my private practice, was in my online business. And I was doing all of the inner money mindset work that I knew to do. I'd hired a money coach who is still one of my most favorite coaches to this day. She helped me shift so much, especially like my relationship to debt and just looking at some of the stories I was carrying, especially like transgenerational money story. And I was doing all this healing work, but it wasn't shifting anything in my bank account. And so at this
You're like,
point, I
wait
was
a
kind of
second.
like, there's got to be something missing here because like everybody will say if they're not making the money that you want, it's because you have a worthiness issue. I'm like, no, I know that I'm really good at what I do. Like I know that I have value. Like I was super solid in that and not from a place of, oh, look at me, but like I had really done the work, right?
Yeah.
And so it was just this perfect storm kind of a situation. I was 3 years into my business, so I'd done a year of money healing work with that coach. And I was faced with a really big obstacle. So I was 8 months pregnant at the time, and I had already had a 1 year old. So I was getting ready to become like a mom to two under two. And my husband was also getting ready to deploy for 6 months, just 3 weeks after we had him. And so that was like, what does all this even look like from a life standpoint? But this also happened to be the same year where momentum was finally starting to build in my business. I had sold out a couple of retreats. I had sold out group programs, like things were building and I could feel it. And it did not feel like the right decision to take my foot off the gas that next year, even though I was going to have two under two on my own for 6 months. And so all of these things together really asked me to get clear on what does financial stability look like for you next year so you can enjoy your maternity leave. There's no stress. You can just show up and serve your clients. And two, like what does serving your clients look like that's going to be sustainable for you to say yes to with everything else that you're holding? And so those questions really radically shifted my business structure where I said, I can do one thing next year and that's it. And so I created one key offer that allowed me to double my revenue working half the time, and I had 12 full months of consistent cash flow coming in. And so that completely shifted my life. Not only was there a lot of strategy and structure involved with money, but also having consistent cash flow really allowed me to notice just all the things I was projecting onto money that weren't monies to hold. And so a lot of money healing work started to show up that year on top of the other work that I'd already done. And so that year, 2018, was just transformational of the business strategy and the structure that is very integral to what I help people do now, but also the money healing work that radically shifted how I thought about money, believed about money, interacted with my money, engaged with it, like everything.
Do you think the money work ever ends?
No. Money is a relationship. So it would be like working on your marriage. Like that never gets to an end date,
Right.
unless there's a divorce. Like it's an active, living, breathing relationship that is changing all the time because our financial needs and dreams change all the time, right? And so we're always partnering with our money in different ways. We always have different needs that we need more support with money in any given season. Our capacity shifts, right? So we need money to show up for us by doing less than ever before. Like it's always a living, breathing ecosystem.
If you met someone on the streets today and they had never heard your podcast or this interview about Dream Money, what would be the first few steps that you would give them if they wanted to step into Dream Money?
Well, are they an entrepreneur?
Isn't everyone?
Because that would change my answer.
Yeah.
But let's say that this person is an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
The first step that I would say is we need to calculate what your financial needs are, so we know what we're asking your business to achieve, so you can create financial stability.
And do you mean that in both, like, what are your financial needs to keep your business afloat and your personal life, or one or the other?
Both.
Okay.
Both, because we need our business to support both, right? Like
Okay.
one,
Yep.
the business has to keep going because it's the thing that's helping bring in the money, but
Yeah.
the life also has to continue being lived because you have your own financial needs to be provided for. So that's the first step, is before I touch anybody's business in regards to like strategy, it's like getting clear on like the numbers of like what is truly financially needed, because that's going to literally inform so much of your business model, from your price points to your offers to your sales goals to your marketing strategy. Like I take a money first approach to business, which I think a lot of times rubs people kind of not necessarily the wrong way, but it raises some eyebrows of like, how can you be money first? And like, what happens with people? It's like, we can still prioritize our people while also prioritizing what the business needs for you to serve your people really well. And so getting clear on the money piece first informs literally everything else. And so that would be step one, is let's talk about what your financial needs are, and not just pulling some random number from the sky, because that's what a lot of us do. We guesstimate, right? But I'm really big on specific money, because that's part of healthy communication with your money. Like, this is what I'm needing from you.
Yeah. Or people want their they want everything to end in a 0 or a 5.
Yes, or 7.
But just like a rant, like $100,000. That's my, and it's just a random number because it ends in a 0. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
are
that's
you
what I
saying
was
that
doing for a long time
99,000,
ago. But
but
I think there's so much
99,000 isn't?
noise.
Yeah.
So much noise out there of like, you need a 6-figure business, which 6 figures is not a number. What does that mean? There's lots of 6-figure numbers out there. Like, what does that truly mean, right? Or
Yeah.
a
And there's a
7-figure
big difference between the first 6-figure number and the end 6-figure. That's a lot. There's a big gap
very,
there.
very big range, right? But
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, like, the reason specificity is so important is because a lot of us can put a lot of financial pressure on ourselves to be earning all this money that we actually don't even need to like have financial stability, right? Or to even fund our dreams. And so I think that's like the fascinating thing is like when we get into like the dream money calculator and like we're really looking at real numbers, people always have such a profound aha of like, oh, I actually need to be making way more than I thought, or I actually don't need to be making nearly as much as I thought in order to reach these really big financial dreams. And so I think having
So
specificity.
why the hell am I hustling so much?
Why the hell am I hustling so much? So without that specificity though, like we don't have that clarity. And so I think every single entrepreneur at the very least needs to have anchored revenue goals that are actually based in needs and dreams. Like that is step one.
So you very casually mentioned this dream money calculator.
Yes.
What is that?
So the dream money calculator is one of the first things I'm going to do with every single client that helps you get clear on what your financial needs are, both in your business and personal financials. I'm also going to walk you through what I call money motivators, which are basically helping you understand what's motivating you to earn more money. Like, what are your dreams? How much do those dreams cost? When do you want those dreams to be realized by? Like that level of specificity. And of course, I also weave in like your transgenerational money story, because what you've been taught to do about money, right? Or what you've been taught to think is wise, responsible, smart, whatever it is with money, absolutely has a huge impact on the financial goals that you pursue and prioritize. And so it's really easy for us to actually be pursuing goals that are somebody else's dreams and the right thing to do versus the things that are actually personally meaningful for us. And so I weave a little bit of that in there because, again, I want people to be grounded in their own definition of success. And so we really also need to reassess, are you living by your own personal definition of success, or are some other people's shoulds getting in the way? And so that's the first step, is getting all of those numbers together. And then I walk them through the Dream Money Calculator, which not only tells you exactly how much your business needs to be earning in order to pay for your business and your personal life and your money motivators, but also how much your business needs to be earning in order to set aside enough for taxes, to have a small give back in your business, to be able to reinvest back into your business, which is a core need for most entrepreneurs to continue creating sustainable growth. How much you need in order to pay for your team if you have any team. And also making sure that you have business savings. That's another core goal when we're stepping into abundant money. And so this calculator does all of those things for you with literally like just plugging in a couple of numbers. It does the magic, and you will have very clear revenue goals that are specific to you, like down to the dollar, that make the most sense for you and your business. And so that's literally just step one in the calculator. And then we get to go into actually mapping out the business that can reach all of those goals, which happens in the Dream Money Blueprint.
Tell me about that.
So the Dream Money Blueprint takes all of this up a notch, where once we have our revenue goals, now it's time to look at the business model that can actually reach them. So what are your offers or revenue streams? How much do those revenue streams cost? How many sales do you want to make of each of those revenue streams throughout the year? What are your payment plans? Are there any costs associated with delivering those offers? Like all of those things, because what's most likely to happen is that we have these revenue goals, but then we actually start looking at the business model that you currently have. And many people don't even have a way to reach their revenue goals yet, right? And so it's
me. I'm the problem.
but it's very clarifying, because there's so many times where we're like, I'm not reaching my goals. I'm not reaching. And so we blame ourselves. But then when we go through like this specific exercise is called profit stacking, where we're stacking literally all of your offers, right? And we total up exactly how much revenue your business can currently generate in its current form. And many times you're like, I don't even have a way to my goal. So of course I'm not reaching it. Of course not. So like that points us to, we need to do some restructuring, right? Like, how do we build the business that can actually reach your goals? And so that's step one in the blueprint. But then we start mapping out your sales calendar, so you know how all of this is actually going to become real throughout the year. And then we are also managing the money on the back end, so it's doing what we want it to do. Because one of the things that I oftentimes find when it comes to abundant money, especially, like if we do not learn how to manage our money, it doesn't matter how much money we make, we will never feel rich. And so we have to make sure that when our money is coming in, it's doing what we want it to do. And this is the thing that builds so much more money mastery and money trust, that like, you know what to do with your money. You have true money confidence, right? Which also makes us feel a lot safer, receiving more, stepping into more, managing more. So the blueprint takes all of that and gives you a beautiful financial system that really becomes a primary financial hub inside your business that supports you in making all kinds of high-level financial decisions that are really going to support the sustainability and profitability of your business.
And if you are confident with your money, not only accepting it, but knowing how to give.
Yeah.
Not only give to your people, give to your clients, give back to the world, then money is like doing better things and making the world a better place.
100%. And I firmly believe like the more heart-centered entrepreneurs that we have making more money, the more we are going to be able to collectively shift a lot of the systems that are oppressive in our world. Because the more cash flow that we have, the more candidates we can support, the more policy change we can get behind, the more community organizations that we can support with our money, the more the more nonprofits who are doing amazing work in the world, like we can fund them. Like there's so many things that open up for us. But I think a lot of us, we have stories around money, right? That earning money is bad or earning money is shameful and blah, blah, blah. And so I really want to invite people into a different way of looking at money, because money can be such a healing tool if we use it as a healing tool in the world.
How can people be a part of that? How can people have dream money and get involved in all of this?
Well, I will be the first to say that I am not the only option. There are plenty of people who are doing amazing money work in the world, but if you like this approach, I would love to invite you into either the Dream Money Calculator or the Dream Money Blueprint, which is two amazing financial tools that have supported me and hundreds of other people in shifting their relationship to money. So if that is of interest to you, there's two ways to get involved. You can either purchase the Dream Money Calculator, which is $247, or you can purchase the full Dream Money Blueprint for $997. And that actually is coming with a 90-day live coaching program with me now through October 4th. So we're going to be getting started that first week of October. And I'm so excited about this 90-day program, because not only are we going to get the blueprint up and running inside your business that will literally become a financial hub you'll use for years and years and years, but we're also going to be talking about understanding our unique relationship to money and also building supportive money practices with meeting with our money regularly and building deeper intimacy between you and your numbers and your margins and so many beautiful things, because that clarity is going to be key for building more money confidence. And so for anybody who is interested in doing that work, highly recommend joining me for the full Dream Money Blueprint and the 90-day program that's coming along with it.
I love it. And as someone who is currently in your program and doing the work with you, I can 1,000% attest to how supportive and compassionate and loving you are. And I just love all the things that you do and cannot thank you enough for all of the ways that you have helped me in my business.
Thank you. I am so glad that we have been able to work together, and I can't wait to see everything that's on the horizon for you and your business too.
Yes. And thank you so much for coming on my YouTube channel today and sharing your amazing story. I just can't wait to see all of the amazing growth that you have, and I'm so excited for you. Friend, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? Megan is, she's my business coach, so obviously she's amazing. But all of the things that she's doing with her Dream Money Blueprint and her coaching programs are just so meaningful and impactful. And I really, really hope that you will consider joining her as she really launches this new platform, Dream Money. Thank you so much for stopping by the YouTube channel today. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, click the like button also, and I will see you next time. Bye.